put it right here. It'll be on this turn.
I'm not. He might throw me one. I'm not a judo. All right, everybody, hello. So if we could all just take our seats, we'll get started in a moment. This is going to be a really exciting kinesthetic demonstration from Sensei Gary. So before we get started, I wanted to go through a few slides. I won't occupy too much of your time. I'm going to let Gary do most of the practical demonstrations. So to start, thank you all for showing up. And this is the falling risk prevention and techniques. I'm just going to really quickly go over risk and prevention. Okay? Oh, do I not? Am I loud enough? Okay. Oh, turn it down. Oh, that's okay. All right. I yell a lot in the exercise classes. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, neat effect, huh? So risks, okay? 33% of mature adults over 65 will fall. 40% over 70 and 50% over 80 are actually negatively affected by the falls, meaning that their quality of life is diminished. And the main cause, no matter like what, lots of different people try to say this is the cause or that is the cause, but generally the consensus is amongst kind of the whole rehab scientific community is sarcopenia, which I mentioned last meeting about nutrition, and that's progressive muscle loss, right? Progressive muscle loss. So every single year actually it starts when we're in our late 30s, but it starts kicking into overdrive in our 50s. We start losing muscle mass every year. So that loss of muscle mass actually is what causes us to have more of a propensity to fall because we don't have as much muscle in our body to keep ourselves upright, right, to kind of support our frame. And that loss of muscle mass also affects our coordination, our gait, all sorts of those things as well, okay? So prevention, believe it or not, that is a 76-year-old grandmother, and that is a 72-year-old grandfather, all right? Okay. So resistance training, and this is by the NSCA, the National Sports and Conditioning Association. So 2 to 3 times a week. I can't say it enough. I know the gym isn't everybody's favorite place. I get it. I get it, okay? But I like to look at the gym as like, kind of look at it as doing your laundry, right? You know, you don't want to do your laundry, but it just kind of, you have to do it, you know? Resistance training is actually more beneficial for the senior or mature population than younger people. It actually, it's better for them. So if there's actually any exercise a mature adult should do, it's actually resistance training, lifting weights, believe it or not. Start with lower reps. So basically, lower reps at less weight. So do kind of 10 to 12, and then slowly go down even lower to about 6 to 8. That's the goal. That's where you really start building strength. And if you can go 2 to 3 times a week, and you can work with Harvana or I, we can come up with a program you'll love, or hate less. And also there's classes we have available, such as circuit training on Mondays, 9:15, and flexible bones and joints, which you've probably heard me yelling about in the fitness center patio, at 8:15 on Thursday. So please, it's all on the website. They're great classes. Anybody that joins them will attest that we have a lot of fun, great playlists. Sometimes we end with just dancing, okay? And the last thing is to do balance or postural work, right? This can range from, if you're like some residents, yoga. Yoga is great balance, postural work. Thank you, Anne-Marie. For others, right, you might want to take the balance classes. You can even come into the fitness center and work with Harvana or I on the bar. We have Pitzer bar classes, as well as obviously the balance classes with Kimya. So any of those things will work. So just resistance training and balance classes, and you'll be good. It'll really, if you can just meet that minimum criteria, that's it. Can we do the Q&A at the end? Oh, yes, thank you so much. Aqua aerobics, yes, aqua aerobics is great, yes. But you still gotta lift some weight, okay, right? Because of the water buoyancy thing, but no, aqua aerobics is great, actually. That's a wonderful thing, okay? So now we're gonna move in to the last thing, and this was requested because of a lot of the falls we've had in Abernathy. And I know this might sound silly, okay, so please just bear with me, all right? So there's level 2, and this is from the European Review on Aging, is comprehension of cues, and then level 1 is relevance of cues. So this you're saying, well, what does that mean, right? So a lot of times, if you associate something in your mind with like a warning, kind of like, you know how if you see blue as like a handicap placard, you're like, oh, that's a handicap spot, right? Red, right, as like on a stoplight. Okay, I don't keep going, or a stop sign, right? Some communities, such as this, in order to prevent falls in dining rooms, they actually put something on the table or on the back of the chair. All right, and I know that might seem silly, like, what do you mean? So I used a serape because it's colorful. Everybody knows what it, you know what I mean? You could throw it on the back of the chair. That way in your mind, you know, hey, there might be a cane resting up against this chair. There might be something there, right? I know it seems kind of like, really, that's it? But it does work. And also on Amazon, you can order this like little tree for $20, and some residents put these, not here, but in other facilities, put them on their table, and they slide a picture of like something that they can associate with, like, oh, I left my cane here, or oh, I need to watch myself sitting down. Does that make any sense, kind of, the whole visual cues? I'm sorry if your head like, no. Okay. It's something to consider, okay? So to move on, all right, our guest speaker is Gary Goltz. Okay, oh, Gary Goltz. Okay, I'll bring it down. I'm yelling again. So he is a 8th Dan judoka, originally from Pittsburgh. So unfortunately, he's a Steelers fan. He got his MBA from Pepperdine University, and he's worked in the healthcare field. He actually knows Ron Bolding, and he was one of the founders of Apria, and he also trained Ronda Rousey, the UFC champion, Rousey, thank you, the champion judoka. So he's shows how much I know about judo. Anyway, yes. So this is Gary, and he's going to go over a couple of movements. Okay, so thank you, Gary. Okay, could we show the Conan O'Brien video? Okay.
It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. If you could roll that Jack Black video, I gave you the cue. I'd like them to all see that because it's quite relevant to this discussion.
Fan corrections, this is of course a segment where viewers try to find mistakes on our show. Good luck. So far, there have been many challengers. I think there have been maybe 100 challengers. No winners. We don't make mistakes. Well, tonight, a fan named Gary Goltz thinks he caught us making a mistake. He claims that during my recent interview with Tenacious D, Jack Black did something wrong. Take a look.
I'm Gary Goltz. I'm a 7th degree black belt in Judo. I run one of the biggest judo clubs in the U.S. I'm also the president of the United States Judo Association. And I'm here to tell you that you definitely had a mistake on your show. Tenacious D's fall, what he called the tiger roll, which is the forward ukemi in Judo, was totally incorrect.
You have a signature move, Jack? The mini tiger roll.
It's something I learned in Judo.
He landed improperly with his legs, as I'll show you right now. Ashton, come up here, please. Would you please show the way Tenacious D did that fall? As you can see, the way she's putting her leg behind her in the back, very dangerous, very sloppy, not Kodokan International Judo standard, definitely not Olympic Judo standard. This is something all my basic beginners learn, and your guest, Jack Black, Tenacious D, really needs to take a refresher course in Judo, and you need to correct this for all your fans to know that it was done the improper way. Thank you.
What an asshole. I'm sorry. Is he holding those kids hostage? That's the most depressing class I've ever seen. Sit down over there while I yell at this camera.
He certainly, well, he understands that this show is first and foremost about correct judo.
Well, anyway, I am sorry, Gary, if that's even your real name. I just threw that in. But your beef is not with me. It's with Jack Black. So I forwarded Jack your video. He gave it a look, and he is responding right now. Here is his response.
Gary Goltz, 7th degree black belt. It's me, Jack Black, 423rd degree black belt. I'm going to take issue with something you just said. The tiger roll is going to roll right over you. You say my tiger roll is very dangerous. You're damn straight. Your tiger roll is tame, like a tiger in the zoo. It's fed slabs of beef by a guy wearing khaki. My tiger roll is a wild beast living in the jungles of Nepal. It feasts on villagers. The tiger roll is gonna roll right over you. You say my tiger roll doesn't meet Kodokan and Olympic standards? You're right. They both banned it, as have the FBI, the Mafia, and NASA for being too kick-ass. The tiger roll is gonna roll right over you. Your tiger roll is just a big pussycat, Gary. I do the tiger roll. You do the pussy roll. The tiger roll, just freaking roll right over you. You lose, Gary Goltz.
Wow. Jack Black's a busy guy. He's a movie star.
I know.
He took 3 weeks off to answer that. He let us shoot in his apartment. That was amazing. Anyway, our thanks to Jack, and the challenge still stands. If you think you've spotted an error on our show, report it at teamcoco.com/haha, I found an error. We will sort it out right here on the air. Let's see if you've got what it takes to make chump meat out of the maestro. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, lights. You can see why I felt that was the perfect entree to this talk. That was actually about 10 or 11 years ago. And it was filmed right in our dojo. Our dojo is in the Alexander Hughes Community Center. I've been affiliated with Claremont since, believe it or not, 1990. And I'm part of this group. I'm a 1953 baby. I'm going to be 71 in June. So I'm talking to my peers. I want to make sure you understand that. I've been doing judo since I was about 10 or 11 years old. I started in my hometown, Pittsburgh, and I wasn't into too many sports. As you can see from my car, I like television. So when it came time to do baseball and basketball and football, the only thing I knew how to do was talk about all the TV shows I liked. And I got picked on. So one of the TV shows that came on around '66 was called The Green Hornet. And there was this Chinese guy, Bruce Lee, that was kicking everyone's ass and making all these funny sounds. Ah, ooh, ee. And I looked at that and I said, you know, if I could do that, I wouldn't get picked on so much. They would think I was a badass. So back in the 60s, there was only really one martial art popular in this country. Karate was just coming of age. Judo had just made the Olympics. And there was a judo class at the Jewish Y right in my hometown. And I signed up for it. And I walked in, I missed the first class. And I walked into the second class, and there were some kids I knew from school. And they were already like yellow belts and orange belts, like some of my students who were going to join us up here in a little bit. And they were telling me about judo and everything else. And I was just kind of standing there. It was in the mezzanine of this Y. And the gym was down below. Oh, there he is. That's the instructor. And in to the gym with the basketball courts came this 6'2", debonair, handsome. He looked like Bruce Lee, only bigger. And I looked down at him, and he just lumbered across the floor the way I walked down. And he came upstairs and came into the mezzanine, had to duck to get in the doorway, and I'm going like this and thinking to myself, if I was like him, no one would pick on me. That's who I want to be when I grow up. And his name was Kim, Kyu-Ha Kim. He was a Korean champion. He won the Korean title twice in a row. And, you know, I wasn't the smartest kid in school. I didn't bloom until later on. But on the back of my business card, which I have some to give you, I have a saying: luck is the ability to recognize an opportunity and take advantage of it. And I was smart enough to look at this situation and go, you know, I'm just an 11-year-old kid. It should be like one of my students teaching this class, somebody 18 or 19 years old, maybe they just got their black belt or their brown belt. How could this Korean champion who should be teaching the Olympic team be teaching this little class of a bunch of little brats, Jewish kids? And I said, something wrong with this picture. Well, years later, I found out there was a big fight going on in the Pittsburgh judo community, and they were trying to get his visa revoked. The other group wanted to take back over, and we all know about politics and how it works. So they found him this little job at the Jewish Y so he could keep his visa. And me, the little guy, wasn't the smartest guy in the room, knew this is a gift horse. I'm learning from the guy who should be teaching the Olympic judo team judo. And he had the greatest personality. He was soft-spoken. He was humble. He wore nice suits. I was mesmerized by him. And I just said, I'm going to stay with that guy, to hell or high water, wherever he goes. And about a year later, he opened his own school. And I remember going in and telling my dad, Mr. Kim's opening a school out on the south side. Oh, you can't go there. There's no buses. How are you going to get there? Oh, I'm going to get there, Dad. There's no way I'm going to do it from anyone else. Well, who's taking over? I said, just some regular judo black belts from the area. I'm going with Mr. Kim. And my dad knew I meant business. So he got on the phone with Mr. Kim and he made a deal with him. He said he would buy me the uniform and pay everything, but if I quit, Mr. Kim would have to buy everything back. So years later, after I founded my own home IV therapy company, which is now a division of CVS Pharmacy, Quorum, and I also helped put together Apria in its early formation. And then I got dabbled in the politics of judo, and I became the president of the U.S. Judo Association. I didn't really help so much in the training of Rhonda, Brian. What I did is I got her funding. Well, one of my students, some of you may know him, Jim Lawley. He's a big doctor in this area. As my parents would say, he's a big doctor. Everyone in Squirrel Hill, where I grew up, the Jewish kids, we were all told to be doctors. And if you couldn't be a doctor, the fallback was you had to be a lawyer. That was the step down. Anyhow, Lawley actually put up $30,000 to get Rhonda the training and the wherewithal so she could go to the 2008 Olympics. And without that, she would have not gotten her bronze medal, and she would have not been able to go into the UFC and become Ronda Rousey, the big movie star. And that's the story. We got her funding. So that's the connection with Rhonda. And her mom's a piece of work. She doesn't like me. And that's a whole story for another day. But getting back to Mr. Kim, I stayed with him for 10 years. And I graduated at University of Pittsburgh in 1976. And there weren't jobs. That was during the Nixon, post-Nixon era. And there were gas lines. You all lived through it. You know what I'm talking about. You know, we used to think $3 a gallon was like unbelievable when we used to pay 31 cents when we were growing up as kids. Believe it or not, I'm telling my students. Anyhow, the relationship I had with Mr. Kim spawned the next decade. And at one point, he went in for a pacemaker when he was 72, and they screwed up. They gave him MRSA through the opening, and they told him, Mr. Kim, we're real sorry, the pacemaker operation went awry, but don't worry, we can put you on the heart transplant list, because otherwise you're going to die. And me being the healthcare industry person with the connections, I talked to his wife, and she said, no way he's going to get on that list. They told him the pacemaker was going to be routine. So I called a couple of my friends that worked at Medtronic, and they told me exactly what was going on with him. And after I talked to my friends, I talked to Mr. Kim, and I had a relationship with him that transcended boundaries of him being Korean, me being a kid. We talked heart to heart, and it's something I learned from Mr. Kim. And I got him on the phone, and I told him I was not going to leave Pittsburgh till I convinced him he needed that heart transplant. And I told him that I talked to people at Medtronic, I have all these connections, and you're proud of me. And I got the top sales rep at Medtronic who does the pacemakers to tell me what happened to you. And he said, you will definitely die within 3 or 4 weeks. If you'll be on a ventilator in an ICU, and you'll eventually die within 2 months. No questions asked. I said, take it to the bank, Mr. Kim. Get on that heart transplant list. And I'm a salesman by trade. So after I said that to him, I said, Mr. Kim, you think the world of me. Some little Jewish kid that signed up for your class, and you see how well I've done in life, and, I sold my companies, I made a few million here and there and everything else. But what you don't understand is that if I didn't take judo from you when I was a kid, I wouldn't be the person I am right now. I would have been afraid to ask a girl out to the prom. I would have been afraid to ask for my job, for a raise. I would have never gone to the professor and argued with him over the grade he gave me on my thesis when I got my MBA. I would have never done any of that. You taught me to put my best foot forward and to take a risk and to not worry about the outcome, because sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but the most important lesson when you take a fall, I'm getting back to the subject now, is to get back up and do it again and keep going. I said, because of you, I'm the guy I am today, Mr. Kim. And your grandkids, Tanner and Tyler, they're the same age I was when I started judo with you back in '65. And if you die in 2 months, they're going to remember you as the old man who was the big judo expert, and then he died. I said, you're going to be a folklore to them. Do you not want to be around and have them have the same influence from you that I got that made me so successful, or do you want to give up? I said, you need to get your mojo back, Mr. Kim, like you were when you were in the Korean Championships. And you need to tell those guys I'm going for the heart transplant. And you owe this to your students and you owe this to your grandkids. Just do it. I'll think about it, Goltz. And I flew into Ontario after that conversation. And when I got out of the airplane, this was like about 2006, so I took out my old archaic cell phone, where it warms up, beep, 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 and I see it's his wife. She left me a voicemail, and I played it. And this is exactly what she said, Gary, whatever you said to him, 15 minutes after you talked to him, he said, I'm signing up for the heart transplant. They found him a heart at 72 years old, and he died 3 years ago at 86. So you never know what the meaning of life is until you do it, you know? For all I know, my whole judo experience was just so I could be the one that could tell Mr. Kim. And we had other battles when I was younger over ranks and stuff like that, and I stood up to him a few times. So he knew Gary's not the kind of guy that's going to give me BS, and Gary knows the healthcare business. So he took me very seriously, and they found him a heart. It was a 44-year-old woman in a car accident, not the kind of heart they're going to give one of our kids or one of our grandkids, but the guy 72 years old, it was a blessing. It was a mitzvah, as we say in my country. Anyhow, that's my story, and I've been doing judo ever since. In 1990, after I had built a pretty big reputation with Apria, and they moved me from Pittsburgh to Chicago to eventually to come out here and head up the sales team for California. They put me through Pepperdine's President and Key Executive Program, and I got my MBA, and the group I was in was all CEOs, people in their 60s and 70s, and they had a profound influence on me, which led me to start a home IV business, which I sold in '93 for $8 million. My partner had the lion's share. He put up the money, I put up the work. But hey, I walked away with about 2 out of that deal, and I wasn't complaining. And Mr. Kim was very, very proud of me. And it all goes back to the judo. And I want to give my dad a lot of credit, too. He taught me to sell. He taught me, I got this thing that I used in my sales force. It's called the Jules Goltz rules. That's my dad. Make the calls, write things down, follow up immediately, and always, always thank the person and do what you say you're going to do. Basically, those are the Jules Goltz rules that I instilled in all the people I taught. So between Mr. Kim and my dad, I had 2 terrific mentors growing up. And I honored them in 1990 when I started teaching judo in Claremont. My daughter was just turning 5, and I wanted her to learn the way I learned from Mr. Kim. And so I started teaching at Chaffee Community, their college programs, didn't like it, and I came over to Claremont, and I've been here ever since. And in 2001, when they opened the Alexander Hughes Community Center, we moved in, and we've been their biggest program since 2001, and we still are. And I'm very proud of my affiliation with the city of Claremont. And it's an honor to come over to Pilgrim Place. My son's actually worked as a salesperson for several assisted living companies, so he's kind of following my footsteps. And when Brian asked me to come over, I said, so you want me to talk to my peer group about falling? So with that as an introduction, let's get into falling. And let's get to the subject. And you know, I tend to talk a lot. So I'm going to tell you, it is one of my proclivities. So, you know, you got a cane right there. Hit me with it if I'm talking too much. Say, Gary, teach us how to fall. If I've learned one thing, it's to take criticism. That's one of the things we learn in judo. Anyhow, come on up here, my students. They're all volunteering to do this. Some of them left school early. I'm going to introduce. Actually, I'm going to embarrass them. Come up here. Yara, introduce yourself real quick. I'm going to teach them. This is actually part of judo, getting put on the spot. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Yara.
How long you been doing judo?
8 years.
And what rank are you?
Blue belt.
You're going to help me today?
Yeah.
Great. This is her little sister. Come over here. What's your name?
Ella.
And you're one of my yellow belts. She's almost an orange belt. I was very surprised she showed up today and was very happy that this is something she wanted to do. That's Yara's sister. All right, Keith, get over here.
Hello, my name's Kiefer. I've been doing judo for a long time. It's either 10 or 11 years by this point, and I'm a purple belt, and I'm here to help.
Come on, Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. I've been doing judo for 6 or 7 years. I'm a green belt, and I am also here to help.
Kiefer's a lot like me. We're both OCD, and we both can be pains. So if he talks too much, you can yell at him too. That's his dad back there. You might know him, Bruce Allen. He's a lawyer from Claremont, has a business right on Town Avenue that he's retiring now, and he's getting ready to move to the south. But we've had a lot of students in our program over the last 35 years, and some of them, like these, have been with me over 10 years, 20 years, some of them, believe it or not. And we have about 150 active students. They range from 4 years old to my age. Anyhow, there's one thing that we're all going to learn today. I'm getting into the falling, Brian. I see you giving me the high sign. And this is the first thing I'm going to teach you, and the most important thing I'm going to teach you all day. We're going to show you a lot of judo, fancy schmancy stuff. But if there's one thing that I want everyone to take away today, it's this. And this is what I do with my new students. So everyone reach in here. Let's go, everyone, reach in. Reach in there, okay. Feel around in there, all right, and pull out your bottle of crazy glue. All right, you know what that looks like, that little plastic bottle with the little stem at the top, all right? Now let's open up the bottle of crazy glue. The lid goes over here. Now, let's turn the bottle upside down and put a couple drops right here. Now put a couple drops right here. Now take your head and go like this. Let me tell you something. If you don't get anything else out of today's talk, that's the most important thing I just taught you. When you fall, that head gets tucked in. As you notice, my 55 Buick, which I'm going to show you when we're done, I added the seat belts, the lap belts. That's all it has. 3 weeks ago on Euclid Avenue, I was driving my Lexus down the south side. I got head-on hit. My car was destroyed. The airbags went off, and I walked out of the car in one piece. And that's thanks to the technology of today's cars. But one of the most important things that was ever added to the car is the headrest. Because before the headrest, what happened? Boom, whiplash, broken neck, death. And that's what happens when you fall. Where's Gail? Gail, stand up, please. She had a fall the other day. Show them that bruise on your arm.
This morning.
That was this morning. I can't believe it got black and blue that fast. You know what? Let's see. Kiefer, come over here.
At yoga this morning.
Come over here.
I said that you waited.
Let's do a reenactment. Stand up here. Show Okay.
But, well, that isn't quite true, because I went down more slowly.
All right,
Losing
that's perfect. You can have a seat. Thank you. Here. You did this. You went down and you put your hand down. All right? And that's why your hand is all black and blue and injured. My student, who's been with me 10 years, he did the falling forward, the same one that Jack Black and I were fighting over. This is the forward ukemi of Judo. This is the forward ukemi of Judo. And I'm going to show you exactly how I teach it. All you guys get up here. Get back here.
Move closer. Feel free.
Yeah, come up and move in. Yeah. So this is what I teach my students. And we're not going to go into this much detail, but I just want to show you how simple it is when you learn judo, especially when you started at her age, 4 years old, and she's now what? You're 5 or 6, you're 7, 6. Anyhow, this is what I teach them to do. The first thing I tell them is to step forward like this. And I tell them to put their arms out like this. And I tell them to reach up to the sky like they're being held up. All right? Then I tell them to take their hands and touch the ground in front of their back foot. And very important, the last part, come on up here, Ben. So one more time. Spread your legs forward with this width, arms out, arms up, grab your back leg. All right? And very important at this point is to turn your head out of the way. So he's going to go over his shoulder. And that's it. That's the forward Kemya Judo. That's the forward. One more time. Here. Let's show you my little one. She's probably better at it than him. Here.
Hey, Gary, can you break it down one more time?
Yes. I'm going to do is spread your legs, Ellen. Step forward, right leg. Arms out. Arms up. Grab your back leg. Turn your head over his shoulder. So this is one of our most important moves in judo. Here, turn your head out of the way and roll it. If you roll it over your shoulder, as opposed to what you did, which was this. You put your arm down to try to stop yourself. All right, that's the fatal mistake. I mean, look at the impact here. Let's look at it. Do it again, Keeper. Stop right there. All right, so forearm, wrist, elbow, shoulder, clavicle. I'm not an orthopedic guy, but we have a couple orthopedic physicians in our club. I can see many injuries here. Many injuries here. But by putting the arm out of the way and going over the shoulder, boom. He lifts another day. Now, you are all my peers, my age. Can you start doing this at your age? It depends on what kind of shape you're in. It depends on really your physicality and what you can do. But just one of the things I'm trying to tell you, imagine if you would have started when I did, when I was 10 years old. I'm going to end up in one of these places in due time myself. My mother was in one of the best ones in Pittsburgh. And, I tell my students this. If they do judo 6 months and quit, they still retain this knowledge. And this knowledge at our age now is very, very important to have. It'll save your neck. In fact, Canada started a program. The Wall Street Journal ran a story based on an article I wrote in Black Belt. And this falling for seniors is catching on. And you know what, Brian? We may want to talk about developing a program. Where's Kimco? Is she here?
Kimya?
Kimya.
Yeah. Oh, that's the end. I'm going to announce the
Yeah.
program. Yeah.
And I might want to join her and come over.
Yeah.
But let's do some things that you can do right now. All right, let's see. Paulie, come out in the middle of that and sit down. You know what? Let's have it this way. Kiefer, you turn that way. And Bella, you turn that way. All right, then put your legs out here.
We can't see if we're in the second row. On the stage,
Well, you know what? Come on up. Come on up and stand here.
Gary, let's turn the bats on the stage so they can see all this.
What's that?
No, they could fall.
I'd like everyone to stand up, come forward, gather around. I'll give you a minute. Seriously. This is interactive today. Firstly, the way I wanted the room set up was to have a circle and have us in the middle. I agree. But you know what? We'll make do. Anyone who can't see, come on up.
Come on up to.
Gather around. Pull your chairs up. You know, make yourself comfortable. Seriously. I'll wait.
Go ahead and come on up to the front if you want to gather around.
Seriously, don't be bashful. This is just like Mr. Kim told me. Actually, Rhonda's mother said it better than anyone. Rhonda Rousey's mother, one time when she was giving a speech, said, Judo is an immunization against embarrassment. And let me tell you, as a guy who was successful in sales, I never worried about taking no for an answer. In fact, I remember I went to a seminar taught by Tom Hopkins, and he said the rule 99, he said it takes 99 no's to get to a yes, so every time somebody says no to you, thank them, because they might be number 99. Anyhow, so here's what I want to show you. Get that bottle of crazy glue on. Put a couple drops here and a couple drops here. Now, tuck your head down. Tuck your head down, Ollie. You better be looking down at the ground. All right. So, when they roll back, watch what their heads do. Go ahead. Each. Don't do the fall. Just do the roll with the head. Knee. Side. Okay, keeper. The glue just wore off. Show them what happens when normal people fall. Go ahead. Concussion. Goodbye. One more time. So, this I can teach you today. And I had a group of prison guards from Chino I was working with not too long ago. And I had them all show me how they take falls, and every one of them was doing that. And let me tell you, at the end of the 2-hour seminar, I had them all doing this. And let me tell you, that's the only thing you get out of today's talk. That's very important. Keeping that head tucked in, and again, it's the headrest in the car. It's I like people to understand the physics and why you do it this way. So, I mean, think about the headrest in your car. My 55 out there, boom, you whiplash. My Lexus, I got this thing behind me, and I got to go like this. And that's how you, when you take a fall, Gil, that's how you have to be. You have to have that hip tucked in. The other thing is, be careful about blocking the fall with your hand. Sometimes it's better to turn out and just roll away from it. You understand? So let's look at the basic judo fall. In the judo fall, tuck your heads in, please. Feet out. No slapping yet. And just roll back. Go. Each. Knee. All right. So the inventor of judo, Jigoro Kano, very, very smart guy. He was an educator more than anything else. And he took lots of different styles of jiu-jitsu, and he came up with the falling technique that's used in judo, and it's very noisy. It's called slapping the mat. We slap the mat, and what it does is it dissipates the impact of what would have gone into your body, so it moves away from you. If you can see the physics in that photograph that they can do where they show the energy, you're dissipating what would have gone into you away from you. All right? And that's with a slap. So put your hands out, please. And this is at a 45-degree angle. I don't expect you guys to learn this today, but keeping the head tucked in, I'm going to tell you right now, you're my students as of now. You all are now required, if you ever fall, to keep your head, keep the damn head tucked in. All right. Each. Knee. Son. She. All right, stand up. Same position. Right? No, you're not. All right, same thing. Falling backwards. Each. Knee. Side. All right, again, the slapping and everything is important, but you know, when you're on the concrete, slapping it could sting you. So what really protects you when you fall on a real surface is keeping the head tucked in, not putting the arm down to try to block yourself. I've slapped a few times, and sometimes I've just gone like that just to stop myself. I mean, it's nice when you got up to Tommy or a mat, as we call it, and you can hit it as hard as hell. But you know, when you're on the concrete, it's a different story.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, but the most important thing is that head. Watch their head. Ben, turn sideways. You just do it. Come on over here. Right here. Go. Good.
Nobody falls like that.
Good. One more time. All right. This time, do it without slapping. Just take the fall. Go. All right.
Very good.
One more time.
See, head tucked.
One more time. One more time. Terrific. All right, then we have what we call side falls. Get back in the same position you all were in.
Gary, question.
Yes.
We fall mostly forward, don't we? What do we do then? We can keep our head down and.
Well, when you fall forward, back here, it's the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing. Let's take a look at it in slow motion. This is the fall that I showed Jack Black how to do it right. Slow. Good. All right, so let's break it down into its component parts.
He's going to break it down. He's going to break it down.
Right.
Okay.
So she's stepping forward with this foot. So she's putting her arms out. This is if she's going over her right shoulder. All right. So this would be a right-sided fall. And when she gets to here, she's rolling over. All right. Sit up. Right here. Don't stand up. Do the side fall right there. Go. So it's the same thing. This is basically the same fall we just did. It's sitting. You see that? Look. Go ahead. Turn face that way. Yeah. So she's doing. I'll just do this side. So that's the fall she's doing from the forward roll. You understand? So she might be doing what looks like a somersault, but in judo it's a shoulder roll. So what we're doing, step forward, we're getting our head out of the way, and we're rolling over our shoulder, and our arm and our shoulder becomes a wheel. And we're just going over, very smooth transition. Go ahead. And you end up in that back fall position, right there, right there. And the head is tucked in. The head is always tucked in. One more time. In fact, all of you, take a line. This is what we do at the beginning of class. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I know you're recording it, and give me the hand mic. That's good. Very nice, Ella. Go ahead, Ben. Hold on, Keith. Kick it in. The Velcro's not holding. Standing up is optional. It looks fancier, but it's basically the same thing. All right? And just imagine, come here a second, Ella. How old were you when you started judo? You were 3 or 4, right? 4. Do you think when she's our age and she's in one of these places, she's going to have a problem falling? I mean, think about it. She's been doing this. She learned this before she could even fully walk right. Question over there.
Is it good to do this kind of fall on concrete?
Well, again, if we did it on concrete, we wouldn't slap. We wouldn't slap. You want to show them? Come here.
But our shoulders would be okay?
Keith, over here. Take your time. Show them. Don't slap. Go. Come on out here a little further so they can see it. Come on out. See that? The only thing we eliminated really, let's put this mat back. The only thing we eliminated really was the slapping. So the positioning and everything is the same. And let me tell you, one of my good friends who died a couple years ago was a fellow by the name of Gene LaBelle. He was Ronda's coach at all the UFCs. And he's a very famous Hollywood guy. If you saw the Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Brad Pitt was playing Gene LaBelle. Gene LaBelle was the founder of the Stuntman's Union before they had women in the union. And a very awesome character. And he had a class at LA City College. And every stunt person in Hollywood that was in the union, they had to go to his class and learn how to fall in judo in order to get their Stuntman Association card. And he's also the one that fought Bruce Lee, and they were really close friends. And at Gene LaBelle's funeral 2 years ago, there were two main speakers, me and Rhonda. Very close friend. He was a Jewish guy too. His mother worked at the Olympic Auditorium and would introduce him to all the wrestlers. Roddy Piper, all the big wrestlers. That's how Rhonda got her name, from Ronda Rousey, from Roddy Piper. That was Gene's friend.
Gary, we're going to have to start wrapping it up soon to go to the Q&A, okay?
Let me go over a couple more key points again.
All right, thank you.
Again, the most important thing I want you to learn today is to keep your damn head tucked in. That's it. The crazy glue here, all right? So let's see. All of you face that way. Line up here. Kiefer, Yara, Ben, Ella, right here, right here, right here, right here. All right? Do the falling backwards without slapping and show them how to keep that head tucked in. Go ahead. Each. Knee. Son. Turn around the other way. Let's show it to him from this angle. Each. Knee. Son. So I guess the moral of the story is keep your head tucked in, and Gil, don't put your arm down like that. Don't put your arm down like that. That's your mistake. I mean, in judo, what we do is we train ourselves to do things that at first seem counterintuitive. And when you fall, everyone wants to go like this, and of course that's your human instinct. But when you've done judo like they have for 5 to 10 years, or me, I've been doing judo since I was 10 years old and I'm 70. That's 60 years of judo. Normal to me now is the way we fall in judo. I would never put my arm down like that. I would never let my head go like this. I was on my bicycle. I ride my bike to keep in shape. And I hit something and I flipped right over my handlebars and I did like a total falling forward, rolled out, landed on the street. My bike was over here. Parts of the bike were over here. My shoes were over here. And people were coming up to me saying, "Are you okay, mister?" And I got up and said, "Yeah, I think I am." Anyhow, another question.
We are walking on the street. Our foot hits a pebble. Down we go. How do we, not having trained in judo, remember in a split second to keep our head down or keep our shoulder? How do we do that?
Repetition. Repetition. You know what? The lady who's teaching the falling class and the person who's teaching the yoga class, Ryan, I will be happy to work with them. And I'll be happy to come over and work with the whole place to make it so that it becomes a habit.
Hey, Gary?
Yeah.
Gary, question back here.
Yes.
Carol?
Do I need a mic?
You get stuck down right here. Right here.
Go ahead.
Whatever. Anyway, I'm watching from back here, and these wonderful judo experts are bending their knees before they fall back so they're closer to the ground. Most of us can't bend our knees.
I understand that. I understand that. Believe me, I'm with you. I'm a lot less limber than I was in my 50s and in my 40s. But, you know, again, one of the key things they do when they fall is the first thing they do is they go to their butt. Show them. And not all falls are done with two hands. Usually they're done with one hand. So everyone put your left hand across your chest, the other left hand. That's all right. And show them how to do the right-sided fall. Go ahead, each. So this is the side fall version of the same thing. Knee. Okay, switch arms. Other side. Each. Let me see. Who's not doing it? Knee. They're keeping them in.
All right, does anybody else have any questions? Anybody else? So we know to keep our head tucked in, right? And we know if we fall backwards, we kind of roll into it, our back, right? And on the side one, we tuck our head. And please, Sensei Gary, correct me if I'm wrong. If we're going over to the side, we try to bring our arm in towards our trunk and turn our head in and tuck it.
Again, I'm not going to try to make you all judo experts in an hour talk, but if you get one thing out of today's exercise, keep that head tucked in. Remember the thing I said about the crazy glue? That's number one important, because that will stop you from getting a concussion.
What about if you go onto your shoulder after you injure or breaking your shoulder?
Of course. Falling is, you know, one of the things we say in judo, unlike karate, which is a striking martial art, or boxing, which is a striking martial art, they say judo is a grappling martial art, kind of like wrestling. But I kind of think it's a striking martial art too, because we strike people with the ground. And we strike them all over their body. That's the worst kind of strike you could have. So yes, falling is a strike. You're getting hit by the ground or you're hitting the ground. Keep the head tucked in. That's the most valuable thing I can teach you.
And also, for any residents here that are interested, could they start going to your judo classes?
You know what? I would do a senior class. I mean, I'm always looking to create new programs. And if there was enough interest, and even if you got some mats over here, I'll do it.
Oh, all right.
I'll do it.
So if anybody's interested, now you can't say, well, what am I supposed to just learn for today, right? I don't have a lifetime of judo. We can start.
Well, I want to talk. How much more time do I have, Brian?
You have 1 minute.
I need more than 1 minute. Just let me say a few things. After we're done, I invite everyone to come out and check out my cool Broderick Crawford car. I told Brian, awesome. this whole group will know what I'm talking about. I drove it across country with his son in 2001 and held his dad's Academy Award. But what I do want to say is there's a higher goal to judo that we didn't really talk about. Judo is comprised of two principles: Soroku Zenyo, which is to make the best use of your power. Kind of like more miles per gallon. Everything we do in judo, we're constantly trying to improve and get more miles per gallon out of it. So, I mean, when they start a fall, Ella's been doing it a long time. She's a yellow belt, green belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt. It indicates your level of skill. So Soroku Zenyo is the constant improvement process, like Kaizen. All right? The second principle of judo is what we call Jita Kyo. Jita Kyo means you and me shine together. Sometimes you see it as mutual welfare and benefit. I like to think of it as win-win. That, you know, in judo you learn to work with an opponent and you help each other. And if you get something out of it, you want to make sure the other person gets the same equation, 50-50, win-win. So in judo, we're not philanthropists. We don't give things away. We give to get, we get to give. And in judo, everything is 50-50. If I do something to help you, I expect the same ROI to me. Not more, not less, same. So those are our two core principles. And the end goal of judo, I'm going to leave you with this, is a saying called Jiko no Kensai. And that means to seek perfection of your character. In judo, we're always looking to make ourselves a better person, to understand our proclivities. I talk too much. I like to be a ham. You know who you are. You're able to accept that. You're able to take criticism. You're able to constantly grow and improve yourself. This is one of the goals of judo.
What's the point of slapping?
The slapping, again, it dissipates the energy where the body would have absorbed the fall, and it transfers it away from your body. I'd rather teach that to everyone with a mat, rather than have you try to do that on your own. Grass is perfect. Grass is like falling on a mat. Yeah, cement, a little different. But anyhow, again, the goal of judo is to become a good character. And I want to commend these young people today because they came over here and gave their time. And when I look to promote my students, I don't just look for skill and winning tournaments. I look at the kind of character they are. And I can tell you right now, I'm proud of all four of these. They're fantastic examples of judo people and good characters.
And can we get a round of applause for Gary Gold, Sensei Gary, everybody. Thank you so much. And please feel free to check out the 55 Buick.
I'm going to go out and
Okay.
show it off right now. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hey, Gary, this is Mullen right here. Oh, Kim, it's okay. It's okay, yeah.